Hi, Movie Space here. Today, I'm going to talk about an American action fantasy movie called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The beginning of the movie tells the story of Wen Wu, the man who wielded 1,000 years ago the mystical Ten Rings, giving him immortality and godlike powers. As a scene showing him obliterating an army on his own, as he chose to badly use them seeking power only. With his soldiers by his side, he assassinated, conquered, and overthrew entire regimes, changing the course of history. In 1996, at his temple where he trains his disciples, after telling his assistant his desire to discover the legendary village of Ta Lo. On the way to their destination, passing by a forest, the trees began moving and closing on them, throwing them off a cliff. Yet Wen Wu manages to save himself using his rings. After wandering in the mystical forest for some time, he encountered a masked woman, Leiko, whom he asked about the location of the village, but she responded asking him to leave. As fight between them began, she effectively counters all his attacks. Then after getting in a dance-like close combat, she throws him in a nearby lake, as she seemed to briefly control his 10 rings. In the next scene, Wen Wu holding his baby boy, Shang-Chi, from Leiko, whom he fell in love with, as she tells the grown boy Shang about the powers of her people which they got from the creature called the Great Protector. She gave him a necklace with a beautiful green jewel that is supposed to show him the way whenever he felt lost. In the present day, now a young man, Shang, wakes up in the morning to find a letter sent from Macau, China, believing it was from his sister, with an origami-like dragon painted on the back that resembles what his mom used to make. Later, after heading to work as a hotel steward with his high school friend Katie, she insanely drives a customer car with Shang by her side, who is mad of her crazy maneuvers. Later, at a restaurant with their friend and her husband telling some of their high school adventures, which their friend described as childish, considering herself a grown-up, and began patronizing them to be mature and grow to their potentials. Heading home complaining about what she said, they decide to go have some drinks and karaoke. Tomorrow morning, Shang at Katie's house having breakfast, chatting a bit with her family as he's waiting for her to go to work. Then they left hurriedly to catch the bus, on which while they're talking, a man approaches wanting to take his pendant. As he refuses to do so, Shang began fighting the man and his friends. After beating them to a pulp, Katie is watching a surprise, and one of the bus takers filmed the whole fight. A last huge man by the name Razor Fist with a cut-off arm that has a blade inserted in it started fighting him. Struggling to keep up with him, Razor Fist cut through everything he touches, damaging brakes. As the bus goes haywire with Katie on the wheel, as the driver lost consciousness, Shang manages to be the mole, saving people's lives with the help of Katie, of course. Realizing he lost the necklace, Chung at his place packing to travel to Macau. As Katie's asking for answers on who he really is and what happened, he briefed her with half answers that she decides to travel with him to get the full story. The next scene of the movie shows Chang as a young boy with his little sister Xialing, as he began training as hard as it gets, while his sister trained on her own. When he turned 14, his father sent him on his first mission, which was assassinating someone. Chan revealed to Katie that he didn't go through with the mission and his real name is not Sean but rather Shang-Chi, as she mocked his name-changing choice. Arriving to Macau, surprised by the city of ravishing lights and the nightlife. At the address, arriving to their destination, they're welcomed by a man named John, presenting the Golden Dagger to them, which is a private fighting club, where they're passed by fighters in closed boxes. They watch a green monster fighting the wizard Wong, whom is a Doctor Strange colleague, in a big centered ring. As he sat Chunk to fight, he discovers that his opponent is none other than his long-lost sister, Xialing, he came searching for. Without hesitation, she lunges towards him with kicks and punches, with him only defending and evading, trying to reason with her to no avail, as he tells her that their father is coming for them. A flashback scene takes us to their past, where their young selves are talking about their mother and the mission, with her begging him not to leave her and him replying that he'll return after 3 days. Back at the ring, after Xialing dealing the final blow, winning the fight, she receives them at her office as she's the owner of the place. After Shang telling her that they're coming for the pendant and her telling him that she moved on after he abandoned her and that she has no knowledge of the letter sent to him, screaming and chaos rose as the 10 rings are here. As Xialing and Zhang Zhong fled, leaving them behind, they try running away using a construction carcass just outside. He sent Katie for a nearby elevator while covering for her, fighting and beating the 10 rings fighters. Just as one of them catches up and kicks her, she tightly hangs on one of the wooden sticks, calling for Shang, who raced towards her, evading them parkour style. He catches her, yet she slips from his hand, falling from above. She was heroically saved by Xialing, whom we all thought that she left. While finishing the remaining members, an explosion broke them apart as a masked fighter snatches off Xialing's pendant, then ran away. Shang followed him, and right before escaping he stopped him to fight. The masked fighter had a slight advantage, yet Shang turns things around, fueled by memories from the past. As he was about to finish the fighter, he was stopped by his father, with his men around capturing Katie and Xialing. Then he hugged him and took them all home. As Wenwu's men welcome Chang, they take his sister and Katie to their room, where they talk about Xialing's past, how her father treated her and how she perfected her own fighting style as she couldn't train with the boys, and that she escaped home at the age of 16, building the fighting club. In the next scene, Shang at his old training space remembering his little self with bloody hands talking to his father about the rings. Later at dinner, Wenwu told Katie his story, referencing the terrorist by the name the Mandarin, and how their mother, who left her village for him, changed him for the better as he forsakes the 10 rings for her, to live quite the short yet happy, peaceful life that ended with her death. After taking them to his study room, where he was searching for Ta Lo, he believed he felt his wife's presence and her voice asking for his help as she was captured behind a magical gate there, holding her village responsible. In another room explaining for his children the supposed signs his wife left behind, he inserts the 2 green jewels in Chang and Xialing's pendants into the eyes of a dragon statue. Water heavily poured from the opposite walls in endless slow motion, with them watching in awe. Then it fell on the ground, forming a map to the village. Then Wenwu ordered his soldiers to lock them up as they opposed his quest to destroy it. At capture, while they were discussing Wenwu's plan, they decide to get to Ta Lo before him. Then they hear a man screaming, only to find David the man who portrayed the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. As he was briefly telling them his story, Chang and Katie were surprised by a small, faceless creature with wings by the name Morris, which David communicated with, telling them that Morris grew up with their mother and it wants them to take it home as it knows a dangerous shortcut to there. While talking, Xialing busts up a wall covering a tunnel leading to the garage. As they manage to steal Razor's car, 10 Ring soldiers try to arrest them to no avail. I mean, we're talking about 2 badass siblings here. Then Wenwu told Razor to prepare the fighters for war. At the forest entrance with David in the front seat with Morris on his lap, telling the story of how he became an actor, then tells Katie, who's driving to advance in on Morris's commands. Inside the forest, she struggled to keep them safe as the trees move spontaneously, but they manage to arrive safely with Morris's directions to a waterfall. Going inside, they pass through to another dimension, to finally find themselves in the mystical Ta Lo. Passing by the beautiful, magical creatures, they reach the villagers' homes, but as they were stopped by the Ta Lo fighters, trainer Guang, their aunt Jiang, came forward warmly welcoming them. Shang told her of his father's plans. Then she explained to them that Ta Lo was a bigger world and the creature called the Dweller in the Dark attacked them, devouring their souls, becoming unstoppable. Until the Great Protector helped them, sealing the Dweller behind the gates and giving them its scales to forge them as lethal weapons and powerful armors. As Jian was explaining the power of the Soul's Eaters, knowing the power of the 10 rings would set them free, so they compelled Wenwu using his weakness. Katie went to an arrow shooting field to train with Guang. After they went seeing their mother's shrine, Jiang presents them with suits she prepared for them. Sitting by herself, Xialing is approached by her aunt. As she gave her dragon-scale weapon for her to train, Katie was practicing shooting, Shang wants Jiang as well to teach him Ta Lo fighting style. While they were improving, Wenwu with his delusions is preparing for war. In the next scene, Shang remembers how his mother was training him as a rival gang of the Ten Rings came seeking revenge. Lei Kou bravely fought them, protecting her children, as Wenwu came home to find her dead. An angry sad Wenwu, after wearing the rings in his wrists once again, sought revenge, striking those who killed Lei Kou, killing them one by one, as Shang's first mission was to kill the soul responsible of her death. When he told Katie of the truth that he killed the responsible, he swore on killing his father, doing exactly what he was trained to do. Tomorrow, Wenwu arrived at the village in full force. After an altercation with the villagers and his children, and Katie by their side, the final battle began. And Wenwu went directly without fighting, as he was followed by his scion to find him at his mother's shrine. And their duel began. As they were fighting each other both physically and emotionally, Wenwu, with a blow of his rings, sent his son flying to the lake that separates the village from the gate. After the father reached the gate, he began punching it repeatedly until a soul eater broke through to the village, sacked the soul of the Ten Rings masked trainer, and almost raised her fist until Jiang saved him, as such creatures can only be killed by dragon-scale weapons. Then both Ta Lo fighters and the Ten Rings decided to fight the incoming evil alongside each other. Katie took a bow to participate, while Shang was droning with memories of the past, came rushing in until he faced a mighty creature in the depths. Yes, it was the legendary Great Protector that woke up. Together they took on the swarms of the Soul Eaters heading to the village. As they were all fighting them, Chang flew to his father to stop him from destroying the gate. While he was fighting him using his mother's combat style, he suddenly took control of 5 of the rings, which his father attacked him with. He was also able to take control of the remaining 5 as well. And while he was about to deal the final blow, he threw the rings on the ground, trying to break his father free of his delusions. That's when the Dweller in the Dark broke the gate. Hell unleashed. Wenwu, taking the rings trying to protect his son, gave them back to Shang as his soul has been sucked away by the Dweller to drop dead. That's when the Protector attacked the Dweller, saving Shang. As the monster broke free, it headed to the village to devour more souls. It was followed by Shang and his sister on the Protector's back after sealing the gate, as it saves the village after forming a magical water spout, capturing the Dweller inside. But that didn't last long, as it gained far more power with souls its eaters devoured. It grew stronger as it captured the dragon in its claws, devouring its soul. As the end seemed near, Katie's arrow pierced through the monster's neck. The Protector dealt critical water blows to the Dweller, and while it, with Xialing, locked the monster's movements, Shang pushed the rings down the monster's throat and performed his last blow, as the Dweller explodes from within. After the battle, the fighters honored their deaths by the lake. Back at the restaurant, Shang and Katie telling the story to their friend and her husband, who were in complete denial. As Wong the wizard came through a magical circle and took them with him to everyone present shock. In an after scene, Shang with Katie and Wong and the holograms of Captain Marvel and Dr. Banner / the Hulk were discussing the unknown nature and history of the rings. As the meeting ends, they take Wong with them to the karaoke bar. In the second after scene, Xialing is reigning over all her father's empire. Until we meet next time, take care.